So if you read the title, you know I'm doing a Q&A today. I asked Instagram yesterday any questions anyone wanted to ask me. For anyone who's new here, I'm 20 years old. I have 2 kids. My name is Taylor, and that's how my social media platforms kind of started, was that I got pregnant at 16 and I kind of like vlogged or shared my whole experience, and now I'm 20 and another kid later, this is one of them. Yes, she can breathe. Her head's turned to the side. My oldest daughter, Lakeland, she's napping right now, and I just figured now would be a good time to film this. Okay, so first up is, are you on birth control? Interesting question. Asking because of your post about struggling to lose weight. So I am not losing weight as fast this postpartum as I did with Lakeland, and I was on birth control postpartum with Lakeland. I am not on birth control now. If my OB saw this, she would probably be mad at me because she very much wants me to be on birth control. But I don't really like the way it feels. I don't know what its long-term effects really are. So I just opted not to do birth control this time. I have tried to get an IUD before, and I can say it is so extremely painful. It is more painful than birth. It hurt so bad and they couldn't get it in. So no, I will never do that again. Next question is, when do you and Ryan plan on getting married? So I am engaged. I got engaged on my birthday, December 8th. I am engaged to my baby daddy, to both of my kids. Not that that matters, but people seem to think that I've just jumped around baby daddies, which is not true, or that my boyfriend or baby daddy's in jail, which is also not true. I don't know where people get those ideas from, but I don't know when we're gonna get married. We want to buy a house, and it's kind of one or the other, as you know, in this economy. First of all, weddings are expensive as crap. They've gotten worse over the years. And buying a house is also very expensive, and obviously we skipped the part where you get married and then have kids, so we want to buy a house for these kids before we get married. I do want a wedding, but if it's not in the cards in the next year or two, then we'll probably just go ahead and get like eloped or something, or just do a small ceremony and then like a reception. I don't know what's gonna happen. I really want a fun reception though. Someone asked, in my second pregnancy, so this would be Viv, was I hoping for a boy or for a girl? Another girl. Honestly, I wanted a girl. I just really loved the idea of sisters, and I was happy with either, and that made me really content because I knew that I wanted a girl, but I also, part of me wanted a boy, so I didn't really care what the gender was. How did I get comfortable with YouTube, like talking to the camera? Honestly, I'm not super comfortable with YouTube. Like, I feel totally fine talking to a camera, like in my house and stuff, but I will not bring a camera out in public. I'm like really scared to talk to it in public. I can film in public and not feel as awkward, but I still feel really awkward talking to it. Now in front of like Ryan or Lakeland, like it's so normal to them at this point. I've been talking to a camera for years, and honestly, like I used to make YouTube videos when I was like 10 years old, and it's just always something I love to do. So I'd say if you're feeling uncomfortable, just try to push past it, because talking to a camera can be really therapeutic in a way. And it's fun, and I'd say, not to overthink it, because as much as it's still scary posting online and just waiting for people to like hate on you, you can get places with it and build a community with it and make friends through it, and it can be really beneficial in lots of ways. Asked, would you ever want more kids, like try for a boy? See, I wouldn't only have a third baby just to give it another shot at a boy. My intent behind having another third baby would be wanting a third baby. And I'm not saying people who try for boys don't want their third baby or want their baby. I'm just saying, like, I would never, ever just try for a baby just so that I could possibly get a boy. There's a 50-50 shot, first of all, that it would be a boy or a girl. And I would be happy with either. But it honestly comes down to like, do I want a third kid? I would love to have another pregnancy. As much as that sounds crazy, I know I do not like being pregnant, but I'd like to give it one more shot just to see if I, can try to enjoy it. Really, I'd love to have another birth, and I'd love to let myself go into labor naturally and not get induced and decline Pitocin and just have one more good experience, because with her, it wasn't the best experience birth-wise. I just was so out of it, and I really think it was the Pitocin. With Lakeland's birth, I had a really good birth and did not receive any Pitocin. So that part of me wants to have another baby, but again, that's not me wanting another baby, that's me wanting another birth. So like, I honestly don't know. She's 3 months old. Ryan's not getting a vasectomy yet because we're unsure at this point, but if in a year or two we're still sure we don't want another one, then Ryan will end up getting a vasectomy. So it's really not about trying for a boy, it's really just about, do we want a third kid? What's the biggest difference between going from one baby to two? I'd say time management, honestly. Like, the first few weeks were horrible, and I mean that because I was so depressed and just so anxious and not there. So that's another reason why I would want another postpartum experience, to try to have it better. But I really think it's been about time management and just how far you can push yourself. Like, getting overwhelmed obviously happens way quicker with 2 kids than 1. Someone constantly needs you, which is difficult, but you know, you have that with 1 baby too. I'd say there's lots of differences, pros and cons. Like, with my second baby, I was not scared to leave the house and stuff, so we were constantly leaving and like constantly going and doing things, and I really think that was more beneficial, and I think I wish I would have done that with my first. I'd say it's kind of different for me because when I had my first baby, I was 16 years old, so I didn't really have any money, which played a huge factor in things like going out to do things, going out to eat and all that. So I'd say that's been healing this way, is like being able to buy things that I want for the baby, buy things that I want for my kids, go eat out one night because it's convenient, like, and we were able to do that, whereas when we had Lakeland, we weren't really able to do that. Living on our own has been really nice. Like, when I had Lakeland, again, I was 16, we didn't live on our own. So there's so many differences in my from 0 to 1 to 1 to 2 that it's hard to kind of differentiate them. Because 0 to 1, I was 16 years old, living in my mom's basement, didn't have any money, literally went to high school, and from 1 to 2, it's hard with time management, but I essentially work from home or work at the shop whenever I want. I'm able to be really flexible on my own. I am able to afford things, so I don't know. There's lots of differences between my experiences, and I'd say that going from 1 to 2 is still harder than 0 to 1. I guess it depends on what type of person you are. Someone asked if we're done having kids. I kind of already answered that. We're not sure. I'd say probably, honestly. How did Ryan propose? Tell me the story, please. I've gotten a lot of questions about the proposal, and it was really sweet. So, like, basically, it was my birthday. We went out to lunch. We were going to go to Longhorn, but we decided to drive all the way to Nick and Jake's, which is pretty far from where we live. But I love their bruschetta. Unfortunately, they were all full, which is fine. And so we ended up just ordering it to go, so we didn't have to wait for like an hour. And we ate in the car, and it was really good. So it ended up being really quick. Ryan was acting weird all of that day, a little weird. He said he was really nervous, but I didn't obviously know that why he was nervous. He didn't tell me that he was nervous until after he had proposed. So basically what happened is we were driving back from eating, and Ryan's mom texted us. She had the baby and she had Lakeland, so we could go out to lunch. And she's like, hey, I have to go out to Ryan's dad's real quick to fix something in the camper, because the camper that Ryan's dad is living in, he's currently renting it from Ryan's mom while his house is being renovated. So I was like, okay, well, that's a little weird, because she was like, hey, I had to come out here or whatever. So she had already been out there, and I was like, that's a little weird, because normally she would have been like, hey, is it cool if I go out there or whatever? So it's like, whatever. I mean, I don't care. So then Ryan's like, do you just want to meet them out there? I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like, we just go pick up the kids out there. So we drove out to his farm, and we're driving down the road, and Ryan just keeps saying weird things. Like, we went a certain way there, and I don't know, it was just really weird. So drive up and I see something, like I see a little setup, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? I was like, what's going on? Then Ryan reaches behind the seat and he grabs my sweater and he's like, put this on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? I said, you're proposing, aren't you? Like, what are you doing? He's like, no. I'm like, what are you doing? So we're walking up to this barn and I kind of see a little bit of the decor and stuff. And I'm like, is there going to be a bunch of people that jump out at me? Like, tell me. He's like, just stop. Like, no, you're fine. You're fine. I was really scared because I was scared people were going to jump out and say like, surprise, happy birthday or something, or there's going to be a bunch of people and he was going to propose like in front of a big wad of people, and that scared me because I saw people's cars. Yeah, it was a super cute setup. There was like a bunch of like almost Christmas decor. It was really cute. And like basically like an aisle, and we had a ton of photos of us over the years hanging on there. And then Lakeland was at the end of this like aisle thing with the ring box and like walked up to me, and then that's when the floodgates started coming out, started crying because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just surreal. And then he proposed, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it wasn't like, people are like, oh, is it a surprise? And I'm like, well, yes, I didn't know he was going to propose that day, but like, it wasn't a surprise that we were going to get married. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew that we would get engaged one day, and that's what I tried to tell people. They were all like, oh, he's not committed to you or whatever. And I'm like, I don't need a ring to know that, but whatever. Yeah, now we are engaged. So that's basically the story. What has been my favorite part of motherhood so far? I would say watching my kids grow their personalities. It never gets old. Like every single day there's something new that they say or something kind that they do. Obviously she's not really there yet, but she's still every day is learning something new and smiling at me different and stuff. And it's so surreal. And then Lakeland like is so smart, and just seeing what she knows is like diabolical. I'm like, oh my gosh, how do you even know that? And how much she loves. And I don't know. It's really just watching them become people is my favorite part. And knowing that Ryan and I played a part in who they are also makes me feel really good. And I love it. I love my kids. They're so, obviously this one doesn't really talk yet, but Lakeland is such a good kid. So smart, so strong, so loving, so empathetic. She is a huge empath, and I'm just like, how did you come from me? I don't know. Like, I'm empathetic, but like, just who she is as a person and who she's becoming. And I'm proud of her, and I'm proud of Ryan, and I'm proud of myself. Someone asked at what age did I get married and have children. I'm not married. I'm engaged. I got engaged on my 20th birthday. I had my first daughter at 16 years old, and I had my second daughter at 19 years old. Also, people have, there's a common misconception that since I had Lakeland at 16, I was pregnant at 15, but I was not. I got pregnant at 16. I had her at 16. Same thing with this one. Got pregnant at 19. Had her at 19. The reason for this being is I just turned 16 around the time that I conceived Lakeland. And so I had her while I was still 16. And then with Viv, I conceived about a month after I turned 19. Had her when I was 19. And then, so I've never been pregnant on my birthday. Someone asked, do I like the age gap between babies? Was it harder going from 0 to 1 or 1 to 2 kids? Like I said earlier, it was harder from going from 1 to 2 kids for me personally, like mentally. Do I like the age gap? I love the age gap. I am so happy with the age gap. It's very nice because Lakeland is understanding, and she can help, and she knows that like, she knows what things mean, and she knows that it's, this baby is her sister. She knows to be nice to her. She knows not to put a blanket over her face. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she knows things, and so I can trust Lakeland around her. I don't have to like constantly hover, which is really, really nice. And by that, I mean like Viv will be in the bouncer, and I can walk away from Viv for a minute and not turn around and Lakeland be sitting on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, she knows not to do that. So, love the age gap. What products do I use for hair and skincare and for my babies? Okay, so get your notepad. My hair care, I love Biolash shampoo and conditioner, and it's a 10 leave-in conditioner. For my skincare, Good Molecules, I use so much of their line. They're clean skincare, and they're also very affordable. First Aid Beauty, L'Occitane, and Tatcha. For my kids, I love the Honest Company. They are 100% clean. Noodle and Boo is what I use for her. I don't know if it's clean, but I know it smells good. What else? We use Shea Moisture lotion on Lakeland. That is a clean lotion, and it smells good. And then for her, we use the Honest Baby lotion. We just use all over balm from Honest for her butt. We do not use any sort of Desitin, A&D, Boudreaux, none of that. There's so many chemicals in that, so I do not like it. What do I do for workouts and how long usually and how many reps? I do not work out for a long time. I try to go more days in the week, less time because I don't have a lot of time. So I always do about 7 to 20, depends on the day, minutes on the stair climber, depends on how much time I have. It's usually more like 10 to 15 minutes, so in that realm. I try to focus on a body part a day, but like I have to smash two of the same things into days sometimes. So like I'll do arms and abs, which is mainly arms, but I'll do some abs. Abs, I don't have any abs, but you know what I mean, abdomen. And then legs, and that's pretty much like all I do. So and then full body. And I'm usually only doing weight training for like 20 minutes max, sometimes 30 if I make it that far, but I haven't done that in a very long time. So I do like 30-minute workouts total, and I try at least to go 3 times a week. So it's not a ton, but it's better than nothing, and it's what I can do in the time I have for it, and it makes me feel really good when I do it. So also rep wise, I usually go till I can't, and I usually do 3 rounds of whatever exercises I'm doing. How old am I and how old are my children? Again, I'm 20 years old. My children are 3 and then almost 3 months. What advice do I have for starting a business? I would say track all your money from the start. Don't be stupid and do it at the end of the year like me. Just download QuickBooks. I don't know what business you're starting, connect it to your bank account and do stuff for taxes. Learn about it. Favorite curly hair products for kids. Love Redken Curls and Coils for like a cream. Shampoo and conditioner is definitely Fairy Tales, the curly version. Pretty much all the questions. So there you go. There's my little short Q&A. Not a lot of people ask stuff, but I feel like maybe this will enable you guys to get to know me a little bit better. And if you have any more questions, just let me know. I can always do another one. That's it. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna go feed the baby.